Om Sadashiva Sama. Wrong prayers. Sanskrit prayers. Om Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenaksharasamaamnayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai parninaye namaha vakyakaram vararuchim bhashyakaram patanjalim parninim sutrakarancha pranatosmi munitrayam Vagartha samprikto Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati parameshwarau Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Namaste. Welcome. So, just looking back to what we did in our last class, we were talking about etad and kim. So both of them are up on the screen there. So we can start off by practicing those, and then we can keep moving forward. So this is in our book 1. You're also going to need your Sandhi book available to what we were doing, Murdhanyatva-sandhi, Murdhanyatva-sandhi. So you can have that ready as well. So etad, etad is similar to sarva, right? Except for 1-1. Esha, just like sa, right? Just like nadī-śabdha. And kim is just like sarva as well. So we can chant etad together. Esha, ete, etaha, etam, ete, etaha, etaya, etabhyam, etabhihi, etasyai, etabhyam, etabhyah. 5-1. Etasyaha, etabhyam. Sorry, yeah, 5-1, yeah, sorry. Etasyaha, etabhyam, etabhyah. 6-1. Etasyaha, etayoho, etasam. Then 7-1. Etasyam, etayoho, etasu. Okay, so let's go to kim. It's because it's so similar. So we'll go a little bit faster there. So, ka, ke, kaha, kam, ke, kaha. 3-1. Kaya, kabhyam, kabhihi. 4-1. Kasyai, kabhyam, kabhyah. 5-1. Kasyaha, kabhyam, kabhyah. 6-1. Kasyaha, kayoho, kasam. 7-1. Kasyam, kayoho, kasu. Yep. How's everyone feeling? Feeling okay? All right. So what we'll do is we're going to Just also continue what we were doing last class in Murdhanyatva-sandhi. So you can find the page number for Murdhanyatva-sandhi in your book. And if you find it, if you can just put in the chat for everyone else to find as well. So this is Murdhanyatva-sandhi. Okay, so it should look like this. We were just looking at this and we started this. And so Murdhanyatva-sandhi is really, really when it's useful is we see this in 7-3, right? Sarve plus su becomes sarve shu. Hari plus su becomes hari shu. So that when that sa, Saraswati sakara, becomes Murdhanya shakara. That's what this rule is used for. So we can go back up. So Murdhanyatva-sandhi, right? As I just said, this is when shakara is the substitute in the place of sakara. Now there's a few conditions that sakara should be either an adesha, replacement, or a part of a pratyaya. Now, more commonly, we see this, it being a part of a pratyaya. So, for example, right, 7-3, su, or right, that's a 7-3 pratyaya. So it's part that sakara is part of a pratyaya. 2 is when the sa is preceded by in or ka varga. And when the sa is not at the end of a pada. So let's look at what this practically means, right? So here's a diagram that maybe will make it a little bit more clear, but that sa is part of the pratyaya. It's preceded by in or ku, and it's not at the end of a pada. In that case, this sakara gets replaced by shakara. Okay, so what's in and what's ku, right? We saw that in is the second nakara. We saw that in is including the second nakara here. So it's all of these vowels plus these semi-vowels, including hakara. So what you can write is vowels plus semi-vowels plus ha. Vowels plus semi-vowels plus ha is in. And kavarga is ku. So it's just that first line of ka, right? Ka, kha, ga, gha, na. Right, this is the ngakara. So some people have different pages, so it's either 71 or 78 in your book. Okay, so let me know if you have a question in the chat. In is all the vowels plus semi-vowels. Ku is just those first ka, kha, ga, ga. Okay, so this is more of a practical chart to be looking at. This is when we see it more often, right? Where sa of supratyaya is preceded by a, then that sa will get replaced by shakara. So for example, right? Ramesu becomes rameshu because it's a sa is of a pratyaya. It's preceded by in, and it's not at the end of a pada, because you still have that u afterwards. Yeah, so it meets all the conditions. You can see that? Is that clear? That it meets all the conditions. So then that sa will get replaced by sha. So rameshu. Yeah, I'll explain adesha. There's an example. We'll see that in a moment. Then harisu, right, becomes harishu. That sakara is part of a pratyaya preceded by in, the e, right? And it's not part of a pratyaya. Or it's not at the end of a pada. That's what I meant to say. So that sakara gets replaced by shakara. So we can see the examples, right? Sarvesu becomes sarveshu. Harisu becomes harishu. Gurusu becomes gurushu, etc., right? Kartrush plus su becomes kartrushu. Okay, so we haven't seen all of these pratipadikas yet, but the same rule will be applied. So become rikshu, vakshu, dikshu, yogishu. Now, if you look at number 11, number 11 is an example where the sakara is an adesha, a replacement. Or it's an addition in this case, or a replacement. So first, the word is chakshu. Now, chakshu in 7.1 gets this adesha, it gets an extra sakara added to it. Right? So the sakara is that of an adesha. It's just an addition that's added. So the sakara is added there. It's an adesha. It's preceded by in. And that sakara is not at the end of a pada, right? Because the end of the pada is here. And therefore, this sa becomes sha. So chakshushi becomes chakshushi. Adesha means its literal translation as a replacement. Sometimes it'll replace something else. It can be an addition as well. Something that's added there. Okay. So here, so this can also be in a verb, right? We see here number 12. Right? Sandhi can be applied in this verb as well. Right? Kridatu first then becomes karo plus si. So I have sakara, which is part of a pratyaya. Here it's part of a ting pratyaya, part of a verbal suffix. Sakara is preceded by a vowel, which is o. It's not at the end of a pada. And so it becomes shi, so karoshi. This is confusing. It's not at the end of the pada because technically the e is afterwards. So if you write it out in English letters, you'll see that the e is after the sha. karoshi. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll stop with this and we'll go to our next subject matter. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to book one. Book one, we're going to page 114, nadī-śabdha. Page 114, 114, nadī-śabdha. Looks like this. So nadi, this is our next feminine word. Okay, so if you're not, if the sandhi didn't feel too helpful, this nadī-śabdha is we see pretty commonly, and so this is something that's really useful to learn, this nadī-śabdha. Right, we're still in strilinga in our feminine words, and now we're going to see e ending. The example for e ending that we see is nadi. Nadi means a river, right? River. Technically, this e comes from is a feminine suffix that gets added, and so I'll explain more of that as we go along. But let's look at the declension here. Okay, it's slightly different, but you'll start picking up some patterns from the other feminine words. Okay, so first you can repeat after me. Nadi, nadyo, nadyah. Nadim, nadyo, nadihi. Okay, so these first two cases are slightly a little bit new, but then these will start looking familiar. Nadya, nadibhyam, nadibhi. And 4-1, nadyai, nadibhyam, nadibhya. Five one, nadyaha, nadibhyam, nadibhya. I'm making it a little longer just to exaggerate, just so you make sure you do it long. Sixth case, nadyaha, and nadyoho, nadinam. 7-1, nadyam, nadyoho, nadishu. Murdhanyatva-sandhi, apply it here. Nadyam, nadyoho, nadishu. He nadi, he nadyo, he nadyah. Okay. Yeah, so 7-3, Murdhanyatva-sandhi has taken place. To make that sakara, su becomes shu. Okay, before we look at this vocabulary, there's this really complicated chart, which is on the next page, page 115. Now, it's not actually meant to be that this looks more complicated than it is. Okay, so don't get scared off by the chart. What this is basically saying is that E becomes yakara due to yan sandhi. Okay, E becomes ya due to yan sandhi, almost all across the board. What is yan sandhi? When ik, so any vowel except for akara, any simple vowel except for akara is followed by any vowel, then yan will be the replacement. So E always gets replaced by yakara. That's all you need to know. If you forgot yan sandhi, that's okay. E gets replaced by yakara. So yan is applied, and so we get nadi becomes, E becomes ya, so nadya plus o, so nadyo. E becomes ya, so nadya, and then plus aha, so nadyaha. Nadi becomes nadya plus a, so nadya. Becomes nadya plus ai, so nadyai, etc., etc. Right, so that E becomes ya, and then these same suffixes which we've seen in Ganga Shabda, even Sarva Shabda, are applied just as they were before. Okay, before we saw Gangayai. Okay, but now here it's Nadyai, for example. Some peculiarities are, so 1-1, there's no suffix, so it's just Nadi, right? So Nadi, Nadyo, Nadya, Nadim, Nadyo. Then this is a little bit funny. 2-3, Nadihi, Nadihi, Nadya. Okay, say it with me. Nadya, Nadibhyam, Nadibihi, Nadyai, Nadibhyam, Nadibhyaha, Nadyaha, Nadibhyam, Nadibhyaha, Nadyaha, Nadyoho, Nadinam, Nadyam, Nadyoho, Nadi, but shu. Sa becomes sha, so Nadi shu. Nadi, so it becomes short. Nadi, he Nadi, he Nadyo, he Nadyaha. Okay, so this is looks more complicated than it is. I'm just basically making this chart. So some of the vocabulary we see here. Let's just look at the first 6, and then we can keep picking up 6 at a time when we meet next. So Urvi means the earth, right? Devi, goddess. Vapi, pond. Kali is Kali Devi. Nagari, city. And Varanasi is the name of the city, right? Or called Kashi. So let's take one more. Let's pick up Devi. Okay. And I'm going to go slowly, so you have to beat me to it. Okay. So Devi, devyo, devyah, devim, devyo, devihi, devya, devibhyam, devibihi, devyai, devibhyam, devibhyah. If you're struggling then say it after me. If you're doing well, then say it before me. Okay, 5-1. Devyaha, devibhyam, devibhyah. 6-1. Devyaha, devyoho, devinam, devyam, devyoho, devishu. He devi, he devyo, he devyah. Okay. How are you feeling? Feeling okay? Okay. Yeah. What the homework will be is in the workbook. The workbook, it's my page 87. I'm not sure what page it is for you, but you have right, you have these, just like what we were seeing, this ikaranta strilinga, you'll see all of these words. So you'll see Prithvi on page 87, Kartri, and you can do the declension. If you don't have this workbook, then just pick up 3 of them and then make, you don't need these fancy boxes, you just make lines, right? Make sure you have the right number of lines, but otherwise you're okay. Sati. Sati is when we do like sati saptami, sati has to be declined in feminine now. So just, it declines exactly like Devi. Like just what we saw. Just like this Nadivat. Okay. Let's just look at, sorry, one side. I don't mean to give you whiplash with all these. You don't need to go to the back of the book, right? We're not going to do this right now, but let's just start looking quickly. Number 1, Parvati Vishvasya Kartri Bhavati. So first of all, can you identify which are the ikaranta feminine words? Yeah. There should be 2 there. So yeah, the first word and the third word. Parvati and Kartri. So with your fingers, which case is this? Or you can put it in the chat, whatever's easier. Yeah, 1, 1. Both are 1, 1. So there's samanadhikarana. Okay. Okay, number 2. Sarvaha jananyaha varanasim gachanti. Okay. So you have to see there's 2 ikaranta words. The second word, jananyaha, and the third word, varanasim. Jananyaha comes from janani, which means mother. Right? And Varanasi is the name of the city. So what case is jananyaha? You can write it with your fingers or with your, you can type in the chat. So think, okay, so let's go through the case. Janani, jananyo, jananyaha, jananim. So we wrote 4-3 would be janani bhyam. Sorry, janani bhyaha. Okay. So when we say jananyaha, that's actually this 1-3, just like nadyaha. Okay. So sarvaha jananyaha varanasim gachanti. So sarvaha jananyaha, all the mothers, gachanti, go to varanasim, 2-1. Right? Okay, number 4. Gayatri Gaurya Saha Tippanim Patati. Okay, Patati. Ka Patati. Who reads? You have to look for the 1-1. Gayatri Patati. So Gayatri reads. Gayatri reads what? Tippanim. Tippanim means a footnote. Footnote in the book. Footnote. Kaya saha with who? Along with Gauriya. This is saha tritiya. With Gauri. So you can see these as goddesses' names or just people's names, right? Here it's, for example, just names of ladies that are used here. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do number 8 just to see this Sati Saptami. Gauryam Satyam Shivaha Dushyati. Gauryam Satyam. So this is Sati Saptami in feminine. Sati becomes Satyam because of feminine, right? Declines just like what we're doing. So Gauryam Satyam, when Gauri is there, Shivaha Dushyati. Shiva is pleased. Okay? So we'll end there. I hope these cases are looking a little bit more familiar. Ikananta Srilinga is a little bit more difficult than what we've been seeing. We'll practice this again in our next class and then move forward. But we can just do this quick. I'm going to launch a poll in the class about the speed of the class, and we'll take a 5-minute break. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om.